Howdy everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome back to the channel. So today, as you can see by the title, we're going to be telling some jokes. We're going to have a good time. Basically, this is me practicing doing lives, right? That's it. We're practicing doing lives by doing the lives, and we're performing in real time. So yes, we're practicing and we're performing, and we're just having fun. That's really what we need to focus on, right? So the objective is I've got a website brought up that we will be reading jokes from. And my plan is to read these jokes. I'll intermingle some cardistry into the mix for your entertainment pleasure. If you for those of you who want to see some magic. But we're going to attempt to read them with some flair and some style, some affectation, if you will. So let's jump right into it. So there are 10 jokes here, some of them good, some of them bad. I haven't read all of them, but I've heard most of them. Okay, so number 1. With the context, without context, here we go. When your personal genie misunderstands you. Tom rubs a magic lamp. A genie pops out and grants him 3 wishes. Genie. What will your first wish be? Tom. I want to be rich. Genie. Of course, your wish is granted. What will your second wish be? Rich. I want a lot of money. So, contextually there, it's very important when you have a genie that you word your wishes properly. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. We're talking about how to say words to get the most out of them. And that could be whether you're a comedian, whether you're delivering a speech. You want to get your point across so that your audience can follow along with everything that you're saying. Absolutely beautiful. Good one to start us off. Okay, let's be a little bit more loose about this. We're getting too serious. Why so serious? Walking into the magical forest of wordplay. We've all heard this one before, so get ready. A man walks into a magic forest to cut down a tree. Upon arrival, he starts to swing at the tree when it shouts at him, Wait! I'm a talking tree! The man grins and says, And you will die a log. What? See, there we go. There's another word. Another meaning for the same word, and it takes away that meaning and it broadens it to encompass more than just the regular meaning, and it's a beautiful delivery, and it gets a point across. See, these are slightly different than the previous one, which the previous one basically said, say what you mean and mean to say what you say, right? This one is what you say can have different meanings than what you intended. So there's this when you're speaking and when you're communicating, these things will come together. Now, yes, these are jokes, but what we're doing is we're talking about presentation and performance and how to set yourself up with these jokes. You can be more serious, you can be more comedic, comedic, yeah. A funny delivery, more stoic, which would be the more serious. See, I'm repeating the same things. Maybe you're coming from a sad perspective, but when you're projecting to your audience, you want to make sure that you're carrying the proper message. Number 3, magic tricks, emphasis on tricks. A guy walks on to a rooftop bar and sits next to another guy who says he's drinking a magical drink. The first guy asks, What's so magical about it? This joke does get a little morbid. Then the guy steps to the edge of the rooftop and starts to fly. The other guy takes a swig of the drink and tries to fly as well. but alas, he falls to his death. The bartender shakes his head and says, "You know, you could be a real jerk when you're drunk, Superman." What? See, this joke takes a turn, takes a little bit of a satirical turn, especially when we're talking about a superhero that everybody's familiar with, Superman, right? What is this conveying to your audience? If you were to tell a joke like this, obviously these jokes are meant for more of a corporate atmosphere, so you can really do more of the adult audience type stuff, and that's great. So basically, what you're attempting to do here is you're attempting to elicit a response, right? And this is more of a proactive, right? Because the other ones, just giving a good breakdown, is that one of them is something that you should always try to do, like, I would say strategically, right? Before you go into something, you should plan what you're going to say. That way, everything that you say is exactly what you meant to say. The other one's more of a defensive one, which was number 2 there, when you were talking about how the words that you use can have multiple meanings, and you want to make sure that you're conveying the proper meaning. That's more of a defensive one, right? Because you want to make sure the context of what you're saying kind of narrows the pathways for the words that you're using. Now, this one's a little bit different, right? Because this one's more offensive in the sense that you're trying to elicit a specific response by saying something that might be polarizing. And this can get the attention of the audience, and that's what's absolutely beautiful about a joke like that. Now, obviously, you just got to be careful with the audience and make sure that, you know, maybe death might not be appropriate in that regard. But if it's like let's say a corporate Halloween party, or, you know, where you've got a Superman or something, you can change the joke. It can be anybody. Maybe it's Spider-Man and he walks off the edge and he's holding on to the side. You know, you can change the context to whatever fits the situation, because they have superpowers, so you can change it to that specific thing. But remember, when you're talking to your audience and you're projecting to them, you may want to say things to grab their attention. Like, oh wait, he just said that? Wow. And now that you got their attention, you can really lead into something maybe a little bit more. Maybe if it's a serious joke, or maybe you're just trying to lighten the mood. Depends on the situation and the audience that you have. So really play around with that. But that's more of an offensive type of style, where you're like reaching into the audience to create emotion. Let's see, number 4, a magic joke for bring your kids to work day. Okay, this one it could go worse, but it's not that bad. What do you call a dog that can do magic tricks? A Labracadabrador. That's, just an extension of a normal thing, and that's a simple, nice little word pun there. But if you are a magician, you have to have a disclaimer, because otherwise, on the drive home, your child may ask if they can have a magic dog. So you may have to really point that out to them. So what does this mean? Well, obviously, part of the joke is that you want, the disclaimer and the magic dog and stuff like that. The idea behind that, in terms of your audience, is that maybe you want to warn them. Maybe you want to say, like, not necessarily with the Superman joke previously, but maybe you're leading into a story that you really want to, like, I'm going to saw this person in half. That's a classic in magic. And you don't want to really, maybe you want to spice up your routine by saying, don't really try this at home, kids. Let me just get that clear right from the get-go, especially if you're dealing with things that are dangerous, especially like we had a run of catching the bullet. Catching the bullet in the mouth is something that has been a classic in magic. These are things that you're going to want to notify your audience that what it is that you're doing may have, let's say, repercussions if tried by the audience without the proper skills and practice and setup and things like that. You have a skill set. Like, I know David Blaine, he meticulously structures everything that he does and still can get injured from it. So that's where you really have to be careful, and maybe you want to include a disclaimer in what it is that you're saying. You might be able to work it in, maybe not as like a punchline joke, but maybe as like a just a comment that's kind of like structured as a part of the speech to be kind of funny, but not the main draw. You're not trying to gain their attention with it. You're just kind of trying to do like a sidebar kind of thing, and maybe it can be kind of funny. But so just keep that in mind with your magic and with projecting to your audience that maybe a disclaimer might be necessary. Okay, number 5. We're halfway through here already. Another kid-friendly joke to add to your in-house magic show. So this might be something. This might be something that you might be able to carry with you. It might be something that you might be able to have. And I do warn you, as from a kid perspective, this could be kind of funny. Okay, so here we go. We got 3 kids. One day found a magic slide, right? Who doesn't like a magic slide? There was a sign next to it that said, whatever you wish when you go down the slide will come true. So the first kid, he gets in, he goes right down. He's like, oh, I wish I was swimming in a chocolate river. He comes out. Chocolate river. He's swimming in a river of chocolate, like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. He's having a blast, right? The second kid, he goes down. He's like, I wish I had a pile of money. He lands down like Scrooge McDuck on a big pile of money. Number 3, he's like the little piggy. He cried, wee, 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 all the way home. Well, anyway, so moving on to... so like the punchline of that obviously is a little grotesque in that regard, but kids love those types of jokes, and well, you can kind of just guess what that kid got when he got to the bottom. So, and spin it however you want. I did some, I'm trying to rephrase these based on maybe references and things that might work, and try to really lift up the mood and the spirit when I tell these jokes, because this is a practice, but it's also a breakdown of... That's a beautiful way to either break the ice, or if you've got multiple kids, you can just bring it out and then just really allow the audience to be interacting. You can even ask whatever or however you want to set it up. Okay, subverting your coworkers' expectations. Again, I'm unsure because I haven't read them all. So an Irishman and an Englishman, which I'm not a big fan of doing those types of jokes, but these are all supposed to be clean jokes. That's what I typed into the Googles. They walk into a bakery. Oh, I do partake in the bakery from time to time. The Englishman steals 3 buns and puts them into his pocket and leaves. You know what I'm saying? Steals the buns. He says to the Irishman, "That took great skill and guile to steal those buns. The owner didn't even see me." I cannot speak in accents whatsoever, so don't hold that against me. If I could, that would be pretty cool, but I can't. That might even add to my skill set. The Irishman replied, "That's just simple thievery. I'll show you how to do it I'll show you how to do it the honest way and get the same results." This is turning into more of a story. The Irishman then proceeded to call the owner of the bakery and says, "Sir, I want to show you a magic trick." Oh, I see where this is going. The owner was intrigued, so he came over to see the magic trick. The Irishman asked him for a bun, and then he proceeded to eat it. He asked for 2 more. He asked 2 more times, and after eating them again, the owner says, "Okay, my friend, where's the magic trick?" The Irishman then said, "Look in the Englishman's pocket." Beautiful. So again, this is more of subverting the expectations, right? Subverting your coworkers' expectations. It's perfect title for that, and that's really what we're building towards, right? Sometimes you will be doing a trick, or you'll be telling a story when you're performing that might be long. And so you really have to be able to break that up, and you really have to keep the attention of the audience. And by subverting expectation and by giving them something to follow, you're not only creating a clear pathway for them, but at the end, you really get their attention because they weren't expecting it. It jolts them, man, and it grabs their emotions and their heartstrings. And if you can do accents, give it a try. I mean, you can change for that particular joke. It doesn't necessarily have to be an Englishman and an Irishman. You can literally have it be 2 different people. So that's a great one. Okay, number 7. A different take on magic words. Okay, here we go. A little boy wants his toy, so he walks up to his mother, if you want to be more proper, and says, "Mom, Give me my toy. Well, that's not very nice. His mother responds by saying, what are the magic words? So the little boy says the magic words, and his mom gives him his toys. Well, he must have said it very nicely, because she then gave him the toys. The next day, the little boy starts kindergarten. At snack time, the little boy wants some juice. So he walks up to his teacher and asks for a juice box. The teacher says, what are the magic words? Apparently they've shared these magic words with multiple people so that everybody knows. Wink, wink. But the teacher, hold on. Where am I at? So the little boy says the magic words. Great. But the teacher gets upset and calls the little boy's mother and asks her to come in. Uh-oh. When the three of them are sitting in the room together, the teacher asks the mother, have you been teaching your son sarcasm? No, the mother says. Why? What did he do? Well, he asked for a juice box, said the teacher, and I asked him to say the magic words, and instead of saying please, he said, you're thin and you're beautiful. Okay. Let's see. We're having some technical difficulties here. Make sure everything's still working okay. Very good. Hopefully we're not glitching. Hopefully everything's working pretty good. Okay, so that subverts expectations in a way that I think that it's important that, to mention in terms of body image and self-confidence, that it's important to share these things and to be relevant in this and be in the moment and to really make sure that you're not overtly or intentionally or even accidentally hurting somebody's feelings. So, it's just be kind. Just be kind to everybody. It works out. If you're a comedian that works on sarcasm and works on calling people out and like heckling the crowd, it's all in good fun. We know that. That's comedy. And comedy is very subjective, but it is subjective and it should be respected because of that. In that regard, that there may be some things, and I will say this, there are some things that are just off limits for me as far as jokes. But those things might not be off limits to other people. So you know what I do? I just skip. That's what I do. Okay. Thank you there. Okay. Public service announcement. Go ahead and like and subscribe. I've got 10 views so far. I'm really hoping that the stream is staying consistent for everybody. And hopefully there's some good rewatch here. So make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you like what you see, we do more magic here on the channel. I haven't really been doing magic. I've just been reading the jokes because it's been so much fun. But it looks like we're losing our viewers, probably because my stream is not working out. Let's check the stream health here. It's not receiving enough video. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Everything is set up the way that it should be set up. I am getting some red here, so that's not good. Everything seems to be working fine. Let's make sure that we're getting back to there's green. Okay. Sometimes I just have to check back in to make sure that everything is working okay, and we are getting a little bit glitchy. So I do apologize for that. Let's jump into another magic joke. Another magic genie with a wish well spent. A man stumbles upon a magical lamp. What a lucky day. He rubs the lamp and a genie appears. The genie says that he will grant the man only one wish and that he has to pick from 3 choices. Well, that's different. He can either be the richest man in the world, the most popular man in the world, or the wisest man in the world. The man says, we all know that money does not bring happiness, and that popularity just makes you a slave to the whims of others. But wisdom is everlasting. Beautiful. I want to be the wisest man in the world. The genie goes, poof, and suddenly the man's face assumes a serene expression. He sits down, rubbing his chin in thought. Then he looks towards the genie and says, I should have taken the money. So what does this mean? What is the purpose? Like, not in the sense of dissecting a joke, but like, what would this mean for your audience? Well, this could mean a couple of different things if you really take it out of context, which means that you're giving your audience a choice. And this is kind of like a force, right? Because you want to steer people in the right choice. Like if you're a comedian or a speaker, you want to lead people down the path you want them to go. Sometimes you might want to broaden the speech so that people can kind of linger and think, kind of think openly, right? open-ended questions and things. But then as you narrow down towards the end, you really want to start closing and really start bringing people down to whatever the punchline might be and really collect everybody for one big moment. In Magic, this is something that you might do subconsciously, that they don't even know that you're trying to guide them down this path. So that's a beautiful moment here for that particular joke. I like that one. And it's a nice little twist on what you normally would see, where you get 3 wishes and you can choose whatever you want, and then they mess around with those choices. In this case, they basically let the guy make his own choices, and he realizes that he comes to the wrong conclusion. Or at least as part of the context. I mean, there's everybody's different, and they might come to their own conclusion. Number 9, the perfect trick for a lousy vacation. Let me check in and make sure we're still green. Stream health, it's still poor. I do apologize. Hopefully someday we'll get these technical difficulties out of the way. During a recent vacation in Las Vegas, a man went to see a popular magic show. Sounds like something I want to do someday. After one especially amazing feat, a man from the back of the theater yelled, "How'd you do that?" Because, that's what they always want to know. "I could tell you, sir," the magician answered. "The cliche. But then I'd have to kill you." See, that's a very strong thing to say to your audience. So make sure that you're prepared to follow through with that conviction. I don't mean like, you know what I mean. Like, make sure that you're appropriately set up for that type of joke. After a short pause, the man yelled back, "Okay then, just tell my wife." I'm not a fan of that. So, like, again, jokes are subjective. Even in this short list of 10, you're going to come across one. I'm not a fan. I love my wife. I wouldn't wish that. I can understand the culture that we live in, but that doesn't do it for me. I don't find that funny. I wouldn't use that in any way, shape, or form. And I would just find it to be inappropriate in every single situation that I would be in. But if it's something that you would want, like say you're not even married and you make that joke, well, it's one thing to do that. But that's an example of something that I wouldn't do. And that's an example of, like, I wouldn't carry that over into my comedy. I wouldn't carry that over into my speech. I would not, like, in the terms of the joke, the magician isn't necessarily the person. Like, you would be telling the story after the fact, right? Making up, random things that aren't even relevant. And just saying, well, this last guy, he asked me how to do a trick. And I told him, if I told you, I'd have to kill you, like we were part of the CIA or something. And he just looks around for a second, and then he says, well, yeah. Again, that would be the reference, is that he's saying that somebody else said this. I don't like it. That's my take on that particular joke. But this does bring up an interesting point, which is sometimes you might be telling a story that mimics a situation that happened previously. A lot of comedians do this, where they're telling stories about the last time that I was here, or, you wouldn't believe what I had to deal with last week, and they'll jump into a pattern, a rhythm, and they'll tell a story about something that happened previously. This is a perfect example of that. I don't agree with the context of the joke, but I agree with the type and the category of joke that it is, which is referencing a situation that happened previously in order to kind of tell a funny story. So I think that's pretty decent there. I just don't like the joke itself. Okay, number 10. You'll want to remember these magic words for the rest of your life. A man sat at home. His son walked in, having just had a terrible day at school. His son asked, "Dad, how can I make it through tough situations?" It's heartfelt, right? As a father myself, having kids, I deal with things like this. His dad replied, "Son, remember these magic words. They will open up the doors in your life. Push and pull." Absolutely beautiful. We end with a dad joke, and it just seems so fitting. It's so beautiful that dad jokes aren't necessarily funny. They fall into the category of jokes that aren't necessarily. Some of them are quippy. Some of them are good, but they fall into a category of a joke that just clicks. It's not funny per se, but it really, like, depending on when you're saying it, the timing has to be good. Like, overuse them, but they just kind of like a bot, a bot moment. Like you're just like, okay, I can't believe they just said something that ridiculous, and that is something that kind of, and it works. So beautiful. Now we have 15 more funny things. I've had a lot of viewers. Right now I currently have 5 viewers, so I really appreciate that. According to this, I've got an excellent connection. I do apologize for the stream kind of messing up there. What I am looking for, clicking at some things, I've had 22 views here, so I really appreciate that. Thank you. Nobody's commented. We're just telling jokes, and we're talking about presentation and performing for your audience. And we're looking at material, we're looking at magic jokes, and we're kind of breaking them down to see what kind of category they fit into and how they would work for you. Now we have 15 short ones here. And we've got 5 people watching. Four people watching. And so why don't we keep going? Here we go. Unless you want to do a little Q&A. We got 3 people watching. Our stream is usually 5 to 10 seconds behind. So if you guys want to comment real quick here, we can talk about that. There's 15 more jokes on here they're not like the long ones. They're just one-line type of jokes, like a question and answer type of joke. But if you guys have anything that you want to, any questions you have, anything that you want to talk about, if you want to see some magic, I've got cards here. We're just having fun. We're talking about performance. We're talking about practicing performance and how you would convey yourself in a, if you had an audience. So I'd love to chat with you. While the stream is healthy. Stream health is excellent. That's important. We've been making sure the stream has been getting proper nutrients. Just saying. Okay. So we're down to 2 concurrent viewers. Now we're down to 1. Maybe nobody wants to talk. That's fine. If I see your chat pop up, I will go ahead and answer it. I've got it opened right here so I can see it. Let's go jump into 15 more funny magic jokes to share with colleagues. So you are my colleagues. So let's go ahead. How many magicians does it take to do magic? Just one will do the trick. That's kind of like the light bulb joke. It's very quick. It's very snappy. Maybe it's something that you can use as an icebreaker. Do I feel like it's very strong? No, but it's fitting to a magician. So it might be something that you might be able to utilize if you're doing magic. Now, you can do comedy magic, which is somebody who focuses more on the comedy and the delivery and things like that, and then they do magic as a part of it. Or you can be the magician side, who's just a funny magician who uses jokes as part of his magic act, right? As part of the distraction, the part of all that. What do you get when you mix Harry Houdini, a basketball, and the 17th president? Magic Johnson. So that's where he comes from. I don't know. Just saying. So that's a nice one because you're getting a combination. And in this particular case, I think that you could do... I think the basketball would have to be relevant to the joke, right? Because you're going to make a Magic Johnson joke, which he's a basketball player. So a basketball is relevant. You could probably do... That's Harry Houdini. You could probably do any magician that might be famous. You could do... Harry Houdini is just somebody who's well known, but you could change that to be a contemporary. I mentioned David Blaine earlier, but you could do David Copperfield. You could make it contemporary to magicians that are current. However, some people might not actually know magicians that are currently current outside of the normal. So Harry Houdini is probably a good one to go. And the 17th president is Johnson. So don't quote me on that. I'm just going off from the context of the joke. So you could just use a Johnson, like a relevant Johnson, somebody who is famous, a famous Johnson. Moving on. The witch hated riding her broomstick on a cold night. She just went out for a short spell. It's a pun because the word means, the phrase can mean multiple things. So once again, this goes back into what we discussed earlier, which is that phrasing and words can have multiple meanings, and you really want to make sure that the context is leading you in the direction you want to go, because if you're creating your patter and you're using words that have broad, generalized meanings, the audience isn't really going to know what you mean when you say these things. What do you get when you cross an airplane with a magician? A flying sorcerer. So that one is a spin on the flying saucer. So that's, again, a quippy one that you get there. What do you call a magic owl? A Houdini. Houdini. That one would be good if you're dealing with, maybe if you're presenting to, I would say at an event that is, maybe you're doing something for like a forestry or a science education program, and you're doing a performance for kids and it's animal themed. That's something you can definitely do. A nice little icebreaker for you, and maybe you want to produce. Maybe they like owls, and you can produce a stuffed owl. I don't know. The short fortune teller who escaped from prison was a small medium at large. There's a lot to unpack from that one, because that one is a long story and not as many words. Because, again, those words mean something more than what it is that it's saying. So you kind of have to infer the definitions of those words that is based on the context. Because if you didn't say a fortune teller, then you wouldn't get the context of medium. And if you didn't say escape from prison, then you wouldn't know what at large meant. So the context of that joke really is important. So this is something that's really tight, right? It's something that really projects what it is that you're trying to say in your story. But this is a good way to say a lot of words without actually saying a lot of words. So keep that in mind, that there are ways to condense your patter so that when you're telling a story, there's not as much rambling, which is what I tend to do a lot. I like the sound of my own voice. Well, I'm in the right business then. Okay. I went to witch school when I was a kid. I didn't love it. All we did was spell. Okay, yeah. Because there's a big reference to spelling, and which is a class, things like that. So it's good. It's good. None of the one or two of these were solid enough that I would say you could carry, but not necessarily that one. I showed a mime a magic trick. He was speechless. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad, because that's what a mime is. So it's funny to me, and that's probably a good one, because it's one of those jokes, like a dad joke, where you're saying something so ridiculous that it's just, you kind of get a chuckle, because you're like, well, duh, because they don't talk. So that's a good one. But maybe it's only funny to me because I'm a dad. I don't know. Did you hear about the magic tractor? He went down the road and turned into a field. High-level magic right there. High-level magic right there. What do you call a small fish magician? A magic carpet. A magic carpet. Okay. Witches don't really like martial arts. The only exception being Taekwondo, because they get to use their wand. I was fired from my job today as a children's magician. Apparently, when I make the kids disappear out of thin air, I also have to make them reappear. So, yes, just saying, yes. If you're going to make things disappear, you really should wrap up the end of the show by making them reappear. Just saying. It's a good idea. It's a good rule of thumb. Put that on your resume. I can make things disappear, but I can also make them reappear. Very important. What do you call a bee? Well, actually, let's take a step back there. As I see that we have 0 viewers on, which we've been pretty consistent of having 1 or 2 people on the whole time. So thank you for that. We're over a half hour now. Resumes are important. When we're talking about the first thing that they see, you got to have a good picture, a good updated picture. Okay, I learned this from Doug Kahn. Don't have your headshot from when you were 20. and now you're 40. Have a current picture of yourself, but also make sure that you're listing out on your resume, on your website, on your card. Make sure that it's another way to say a lot with very little, because you could list off, when they go to your website, you can list off some of the accolades, have pictures, videos of things that you've done before, things like that. But when you have your card, it's not like it's not one of those cards that you get in math class where you get to fill out the front and back. You really only got like enough room for a couple of things on there. So really make it count, right? What do you call a bee with a spell on him? Bewitched. Bewitched. If you like bumblebees, especially if you have bee playing cards, which I do, way over there. But if you've got bee playing cards, why not load up your patter with bee references, right? So just beautiful. Just believe in yourself, Just saying. What's the first thing wizards do in the morning? They wake up. Again, that's because maybe they sleep in. Maybe they're night owls. Maybe they're familiar as an owl. I don't know. But that's it. That they wake up. So again, another one of those, like, I asked the question and I gave you a literal answer. There was no metaphorical meaning behind that joke. And that's a good way to bring people into the moment and to make them think, because when you're, especially in magic, you want to subvert expectations. When you're telling jokes, you want to subvert expectations. So in terms of that type of joke, basically what you're doing is you're programming them, because you're preparing them for a certain way of thinking, which basically you want to stay consistent with that. So if you're asking, like, and it can be a little weird, because obviously if you're those two categories of questions, if I ask you a question and I want a specific answer in terms of like the literal, like, what's the first thing you do in the morning? You wake up. Great, good. But what if I said something along the lines of like, I don't know, like, what's the first thing you think about in the morning? It's more of an open-ended question, but you're trying to lead, like, I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of anything offhand, like a philosophical question, or a question that, what's the first thing wizards do in the morning? You might think, for this particular question, you might think, oh, they put on their robe or whatever. Well, no, they wake up. So something magical. You're trying to think of something magical, but that's not the answer. The answer is they literally just woke up. I never saw this. The last one, I promise. I never saw the magician's spell book. He kept it under warlock and key. Well, I'm sure if you went after a wizard's spell book, a magician's spell book, there would be war happening for sure. So let's leave you with a little bit of end notes here. The bottom line is that you're out there to entertain. You're out there to create a magical moment. Obviously, we use that in the terms of magic, but if you're a comedian or a speaker, an orator, then you're trying to convey a message to your audience, which is to either leave them with something profound that they can carry with them the rest of their lives, and that could be either something that they carry with them in terms of like changing their lives, or just something that was so wholesome and so beautiful for them, and so amazing, in terms that they're talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's kind of what we're talking about in terms of performance, is that you want to make sure that you're beginning your performance with getting the audience to like you, because you're a person and they're a person, and you have that conversation with them, and you're making jokes, everybody's laughing, having a good time. You can get serious. You can say those jokes that can be a little bit harsh once you have the audience warmed up to you. Then you can tell the story. Then you can bring in the sad part, the anger, or however you want to make the reality of your performance unfold for your audience. And that's That's really what it's all about. So just be aware of what it is that your words are doing for your audience and make sure that you're doing it in the proper order. Like I said, the first thing you want to do, icebreaker, you want to get the audience familiar with you. You want to be friends with them. You really want that friendship to happen. Now, obviously, if you're a mysterious type of performer, whether you're speaking or performing magic or anything like that, you want there to be that mystery. That's fine. But they still have to see something vulnerable about you, and you still have to lead with that, because there's a lot of people out there that are condescending performers, and it works for them because that's their gimmick and that's the purpose. But if you're a vulnerable person trying to go down that path with your audience, they might feel contempt for you because you're like wishy-washy in a sense. So make sure that your words mean what you want them to mean, and that's strategic. That's what you do in the drawing room. That's what you plan out what you're going to say in your patter beforehand. Then you want to make sure that you're prepared defensively when you're speaking, which basically means, okay, I said this word that has a lot of different meanings, but I want to contextually defend what I'm saying so that the audience goes in the direction I want them to go in. And then you also want to have offensive, not offensive. You don't want to offend people, but you want to be on the offense with your speech, which is to go out into the audience and to really start to pull on the strings and to elicit those emotions that work best with the dialogue, the patter, and with the magic or with the speech. And there we have it. This was a beautiful live. Thank you for coming along. I had a lot of people. I don't even know how many people I had with me here. I'm going to hang out here for a couple of minutes. I've been on here for 41 minutes, and I'm just trying to bring it up here real quick, 40 views on this. Wowzers. Thank you so much. And I currently have apparently 2 people watching. I really appreciate it. If you want, go ahead and put something in the comments there so we can have a chat. I wouldn't mind chatting with you. Let me know what you thought. I know obviously you're probably jumping in and out. We've got I really like this, breaking down this and really talking about the idea of communicating with your audience. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to play with some cards while I'm waiting here. Like I said, I'll be here for a couple of minutes. So if you want to chat, let me know. We're winding down. The spring. Ha-cha. We can do this. Flip over the cards. The 6 of clubs. Right on the table there. We're going to put the phone over top of it. Then we're going to shuffle up the deck. Then, if we're lucky, we're going to make one card come from the center, and that card is going to be wait a second. Well, this must be a different card then. That is the 7 of spades. Wow. Magic. It just changed places. We talk a lot about magic on this channel. We talk about cardistry. We talk about performing. We talk about other performers. We talk about YouTube. A lot of things on this channel that we dive into. So there might be something for you if you like cards, coins, street magic, all sorts of fun stuff. And we like to chat. We like to do stuff like this where we just kind of, now that I've got my live fixed, I just got a new camera, I've got a new microphone, so things are, and I spent probably 4 or 5 hours last weekend making sure that my stream was smooth and the microphone's good. We've got OBS going here in the background, so everything is pretty stellar. Pretty excited with where we're at, and we're still getting some fantastic views. 42 views. Man, that's awesome. I do wish somebody wanted to chat, though, because I do like to talk. I think I have messages on. Add a reaction. I'm going to... What's a good one here? It's one of those interesting things where if you try... Like if you're doing a stream, you really have to section time for communication. Because it does take a while. Not a while, but it takes away time. So it's always good to have those things planned. Look at this right here. This is a good one. I like this one. Yeah, that's it right there. Hacha! I just sent out a message. This is the Q&A portion of the event. If you are just tuning in, we just talked about for about 40 minutes. We talked about magic and jokes, magic jokes, and how they relate to your pattern, how they relate to performance. So I hope you guys check out this stream. I feel like there's a lot that it can offer you, and there's some funny jokes for you. You know, just something interesting. It says here that we're having some issues with our stream again. OBS looks good. Every once in a while I've got to jump back over to OBS just to make the stream health is good. It says it's poor. I don't know why. I just don't know why. Everything's fine. Maybe internet tends to ebb and flow a little bit, so we have to wait for it to come back. I mean, the other thing that's probably not helping out is that I've got all these things. Yeah, that's it. I just answered a message on live stream. I just did that. So professional. I don't know. We're just having fun. That's what, see my little Godzilla? He's facing the wrong way. I mean, he's facing towards me. This was actually something I just talked about in one of my last live stream. Self-reflection is going to be something I do once a month where I talk about the channel, I talk about different videos, I talk about life stuff. Maybe not just all magic, but when I first started this channel, we did toy reviews. And this was the first toy that I ever reviewed on the channel, and it was the first toy that I ever re-reviewed. And to be honest, I didn't actually check. I doubt it did very well, but I had a spicy video challenge, which was basically, can we get 1 million views on my re-review of this Godzilla toy? I even posted it in my community tab. And I forgot to check it. I completely forgot about it. Life. That's just how it goes. I do videos usually every weekend. I didn't get one out yesterday. You know, sick kiddos and stuff. But I got one out today. And I'm live. Magic jokes for your entertainment. For watching. Wowzers. I got 5 people. What? People are watching me? This is exciting. I'm having a good time. Just ecstatic that I have a stream that is, well, it's popular. I don't know. Is it popular? I doubt it. But when I've got, throughout the stream, I've had 2 or 3 people average. People leave, people jump in. I've got 1 like, so that's cool. What I'm doing now is I'm looking up this toy right here. I did a spicy video challenge just on a whim to see if I can get 1 million views on that video. Maybe I got some, maybe I didn't. But I was just curious as to see how many I actually got. Let's see. Well, I'm at 1.9k views, so that's definitely not 1 million. so there's that. Did I think I was? No, not in the least. I'm just curious as to... Let's get rid of this here. The stream is still suffering for buffering and whatnot. Let's go over to here. Go to here. We're just checking this video out real quick. Content. I'm just curious to see how many I've gotten since last week. Godzilla. Analytics. I make money on YouTube. Like $20 a month. It was more than that at one time. It was at least $1 a day. So actually, no, I think I'm less now. I think it's 15. I went down by half. I was at like 30. I have made more than that at one time, but I was consistently at least getting 30 to 50. Now I'm getting 10 to 15. It's quite sad. Oh, wowzers, look at this. Okay, so I've gotten 12 views in the last 28 days. But we're going to do last 7 days since that post. And that's going to put me at 5 views in the last week. And I've made 1 penny. Thank you, everybody, for that 1 penny. Unfortunately, the only place that I knew of that had penny candy is closed. So you just need to do that 100 more times so I have $1. That way I'll have enough sales tax to buy something. I don't know. You know, the little pies that you buy, the little fruit pies, at one time they were 50 cents, and now they're $1 a piece. You get 2 for $1. Now you're getting 1 for less than $1, or more than $1 because of tax. So, good times. Good times. Let's see. There's the old ace of spades. Let's see if we can do one trick, because I'm not getting any chat action. I've got almost 50 views on this. Average view duration is 1.5 minutes. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. A minute of your time. You gave me a minute of your time. Solid. Thank you. Thank you. I lost the card. Or did I? No, I did. If this is your card, it's not your card. I don't know what I'm doing. What should we do? That's what I'm waiting for comments. I think we're going to be done. We're just trying to pad the run time. That's what we do here on the channel. So we're going to take this 10 of hearts and we're going to lose it somewhere in the pack. And that's going to look something like this. Hacha. Oop. No, that's the 7 of diamonds. You thought something fishy was happening there. But it's not. It's not fishy. What it is just beguiling. See that? That's the 10, by the way, just in case you missed that. And then, in case you missed all of that, yeah, it's the jack, which is pretty close to the 10. You just gotta wipe it off a little bit. Whew, that's terrible. That's a terrible, terrible move. Not the move is terrible, just my skill with that particular move. See if we can mess up other tricks. We didn't come prepared to do magic today. We were talking. That's what we were trying to do. Why is my stream struggling? OBS is good. Looking at OBS, everything is good. I'm live for 53 minutes. Dropped frames, 2%. Why am I dropping frames? Butterfingers, that's what I say. Well, we're going to wait for the stream to get healthy again so that we can end it. End the stream. It's poor anyway. 50 views. There we go. We've hit our benchmark. 50 views. And somebody gave me 2 more seconds of their time. I really appreciate that. So let's leave you off with one nice little thing here. That's going to be this card right here. And that card is going to be... I don't know if that was mesmerizing or not. No, that's not your card. No, your card... Your card, I don't know. I just don't know anymore. All the shuffling, and what's that going to get me? That's going to get me this right here. The 4 of hearts. What should be your card. And if it is, like and share. Don't forget to subscribe and check me out every week. I'll be here. Between, one of the days. So, no new members, 52 views. Chat revenue is, nothing. Likes, concurrent views. I got people watching me. I'm so excited. Woo-hoo! the average view duration went back down to 134. So apparently that magic trick did not do it for me. I could actually see the little chart here where I had 4 people watching consistently. That's pretty cool. That's exciting. I'm glad that the stream is working. I don't know why it's all fidgety, though. I don't like that. Curious. Let me go into my phone here. This is typically what I do if I need to see what my stream is doing. I got 3 people watching. One of those people is probably me. Howdy, howdy. That's like my opening phrase. That's how I talk to people. Why? I don't know. Personality. That's what you want to call it. Yeah, seems to be working just fine. Anyway, since that is the case, we've been done for quite a while. We've actually been done for 10 minutes now. I do appreciate anybody who continues to jump in. I'm just kind of waiting around and seeing if everybody wants to talk. Thank you everybody who did stop by and who watched. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you gained something from this. So, only one thing left to do, and that's the sign off. Thank you everybody, and remember, stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And we'll see you